Hell with it. We're going live early. That's my mentality on this. So, no, technically, we're supposed to go live at 5 after. That was a missight on my end because every year scheduling these StreamYards, they like book it for weird times. And usually I adjust it, but I was in a rush today when I was setting this up. And yeah, so going live 7 Eastern. It's going to be the early chat. This is early chat number 3 for the second time I'm running this series, but now I'm actually calling it something. So we'll just call it the early chat now until someone comes up with a better name, and at which point we'll go ahead and change the name. Maybe I'll do like a poll or something like that on my Instagram or on here. I can never figure out how to get polls done on here. I think I have to have so many subscribers to do that. But anyhow, welcome all. It's the early chat with Angry. We talk about anything and everything from guns, politics, geek stuff, cars, bikes, boats, planes, whatever you want to talk about, we talk about here. So it's what this chat's for, is for people just to come, have a little casual discussion, maybe escape their lives and all the craziness that's going on right now. So yeah, that's why we're here. Again, for the second week in a row, and I meant to mention on Matt's chat last night, and I slipped up and didn't. So I don't expect a lot of people to be here tonight because I schedule these things so late. I gotta start scheduling these things out further out, but whatever. Um, yeah, don't have a shit ton of topics right now to talk about. Just some weird stuff going on in my book. I was actually checking some of my emails before hopping into this chat and came across email from Classic, and I know you can't mention prices on YouTube because they get angry with you. But for anyone that's looking right now, I know the whole tactical world right now is like AR pistol or short little SBR looking ARs or carbines or whatever. But I've always been a big fan of the classic like retro looking rifles, like the A1s, the A2s. Um, Classic currently has Colt Defense A4s for just over 1,000 beans. We're going to say beans because beans is a form of currency. So Lima, Pinto, red, kidney, chili, whatever types of beans you like. It's what Classic has those going for now. So it's a pretty good deal for a Colt. And you get a full-size rifle. I've always liked the 20-inch ARs. Granted, I understand for like CQB and stuff like that, it's not the go-to. If I could only have one AR, it would not be a 20-inch AR, but I just think they're cool because it comes with the carry handle. Looks retro, but it's modern enough. Sorry, I gotta let the dog out, guys and girls and whatever else. She's being fucking needy. Of course, she waits until I start the goddamn chat and then decides that she wants to go outside. Go. But yeah. So came across that deal before the chat here. Also saw that they had, I think, Zastavas for under 1,000 chicky nuggies. That's another form of currency, chicky nuggies. So they had Zastava rifles for under 1,000 chicky nugs. Now they do have some that are a little bit more expensive if you get like the folding stock and some of the added bells and whistles. But finding a Zastava right now under $1,000 is a pretty damn good deal. So I've bought some stuff from Classic before. I've never bought anything that I had to transfer through Classic. I don't think. I may have when I had my CNR license, but I don't remember now. I don't think I did. I don't think I ever bought anything on my CNR through Classic. Actually, no, that's not true. That's not true. That is a lie. I bought back in the day, they had, I think it was them. Fuck, I'm getting places confused. I think they had the Spanish Mausers back in the day. It was either Classic or JG. Because I know I bought some stuff through J&G. I know I've gotten stuff through Classic. I just don't, again, remember if it was a CNR. But I think back in the day when they had their 308 chambered Spanish Mausers for like, I think we paid $199 nuggets back in the day and it was beat to shit. Like it was in rough shape. I know Matt, Never Enough Ammo, and myself both got one. It took a long time to clean up and everything, but it was a good little rifle. I feel bad I got rid of it, because it was cool. But it was when I got rid of it, it was one of those things. I'm like, I'm never gonna need a 308 bolt gun, like a cheap 308 surplus bolt gun. Looking back on it, I kick myself because I ended up finding a box of 308 ammo like literally 3 months after I sold the damn thing, and then realized I need to buy another 308 to replace it. And by then, all the Spanish Mausers were sold out, so you couldn't find them. So I ended up having to buy the Savage I have now, the Savage Access, and that I spent like $300 on. So yeah, it was an expensive. Now, granted, the Savage is a much better gun, but Mauser should have the sideways ninja star. This did not have. This was a Spanish Mauser, so it was the earlier pattern. It was fuck. I want to say they were like 1909 or 1907 Spanish Mauser, something like that. It's the earlier patterns. They originally chambered in 8 millimeter, but after the war, after World War II, when all of NATO was going over to 308, Spain had their semi rifles that they're coming out with, but they had this large reserve of these rifles. So essentially, what they did was they rechambered all of them to 308 because it was something where it's like, okay, we can train the new guard and like leave these as rear echelon guard type rifles, like stuff that's not going to be frontline troops, like your guys guarding rail yards or police or whatever. But they have that commonality of rounds, and then we can also train up the new guys on what a 308 is going to be like. Even though 308 to 8 millimeter is not too different, it's still like we can train them up on what 308 is, keep it as a rear echelon rifle, while our frontline guys get the set me's, and then obviously as they built enough set me's and got everyone set me's, they just sold off the 308 Mausers. But it's interesting. Like if you ever go down the Mauser rabbit hole, like all the different models they have, all the different everything, which is ironic because I still do have a Mauser. I have an Argentinian Mauser that if you go back in my channel far enough, there should be a video. It was from the Zombie Gun Challenge 2 years ago, back in 2020. I think we did that. I bought an Argentinian Mauser for dirt cheap. It was under $200, and it's chambered in fuck, I forget. It's like 7.65 or some wacky ass cartridge. Like I'd have to look at it again. But I ended up cutting the barrel down to 18 inches because this thing was longer than a Mosin Nagant. But someone had already chopped the stock, so it was like, okay, so I had this short, stubby, like sporterized stock with this huge ass length of barrel sticking off the end. So I cut the barrel down, threw new sights on it, cheap ass sights on it. The barrel itself was already drilled, and someone had tried to tap it and butchered it. So it needed a rear sight anyway. So just bought some aftermarket sights, threw those on, and then yeah, just gave it the zombie treatment. And I still have that rifle. It's still sitting in my closet. So I still have a Mauser, and ironically, it's the one gun that still terrifies my dog. Like if I take out a gun to clean or something like that, like she doesn't really care. Like if she's sitting on the couch and I'm sitting on the couch with the gun cleaning it, she could give two shits. She's just like, oh, okay, whatever. Like she'll sniff it maybe or look at it, but doesn't pay it any mind. I bring that gun out and she freaks. She wants to be nowhere near it. She's keeps it. So I'm pretty sure that gun has bodies on it. Like there's some like cursed trapped soul in that gun. But yeah, but that's all I got on that end. Going on my little Mauser rant about the different models and how long they made it and how many countries fielded them and all that fun stuff. But what's up with everyone watching? I know we got some people trickling in here, but I'm trying to think what else. I covered the classic firearms deals earlier, at least what I saw. Like there's some other stuff in there, like other like Daniel Defense stuff and Stag Arms and stuff. But I honestly, if you were to ask me what a Stag Arms was going for, wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't pay attention enough. So I just knew that slightly over 1,000 chicky nuggies for a Colt was a pretty good price. Um, shit, what else is going on that we haven't covered already? News, world's fucked. Like we just keep going down the rabbit hole. Um, I know I alluded it to a little bit on Matt's chat last night, but if we want to dive down politics wise, my girl I'm talking to, she had gotten a letter 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago now, in the mail stating, hey, here's your letter to sign up online so you can get your mail-in ballot because it said right in the letter, she showed it to me, because you voted via mail-in ballot in 2020, here's your letter. So something like, here's your letter to reestablish so we can send you on another ballot. And she's like, that's the first year I was in Pennsylvania that I could vote. She's like, I marched myself down to the voting station because I couldn't find it. So like I had to go hunt around for it. Yeah, JoJo trying to start the big one with hashtag Big China. Just it's funny. Like so many people gave Angry Cheeto Man, and I'm not a Angry Cheeto Man fan by any means, but like so many people gave Angry Orange Cheeto Man shit for just opening his mouth on stuff, which he did. I mean, he said a lot of stupid stuff and opened his mouth a lot when he shouldn't have, but like Joe, fucking Papa Joe or Uncle Joe or whatever the fuck they call him, like he doesn't know his head from his ass. Like he has no idea what the repercussions of his words are, and everyone's just like, "Nope, it's fine. It's completely fine." He said that stuff. It's okay because at least he's not sending mean tweets. It'll be interesting to see this election cycle what happens. Every day Sleepy Joe is in office, I became more a fan of the Cheeto. Yeah, I mean, if I have to choose between the two, obviously I'm gonna go Cheeto. If I have to choose between him and this flashlight, I'm going with the flashlight. I think it can do a better job. At least it has a purpose. I don't feel like he has a purpose, and it's not entirely his fault. He's senile. He's old and senile. He should be in a nursing home with people taking care of him. That's what he should be. He should not be making any of his own decisions. Maybe if he wants to eat the Jello or the pudding or not, but that's about it. Yeah, that's that. I heard Newsom was going to run if Sleepy Joe doesn't in 2024. I haven't heard that yet. I'd be interested to see how that goes because Newsom's not liked by. I feel like a lot of people, even California, don't like Newsom anymore. Like they realize what a mistake he is. So I'd be curious to see. I'd be curious to see if he runs. By the way, Corey, if you want a link or something, let me know. I can shoot you one over via Discord. I know I threw it in the chat earlier, but I didn't see anyone reply. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd take Newsom over Sleepy Joe, but that's like, do you want to burn to death or do you want to drown? Like, don't really know. Both are gonna suck. Ahoy, Tara. Ahoy. Trying to think what else. Covered some gun stuff, covered some politics stuff, and we're only 15 minutes in. I guess I'll cover real briefly what the screenshot is for this chat. So, screenshot I found is of I was browsing around on Instagram yesterday, and I found some channel on Instagram or page or whatever you want to call it, a profile, that takes old ass tractors and turns them into overland vehicles. Obviously short range, like they're not doing anything. They're not going like 2,000 miles or anything. But with the upcoming contest, I guess you want to call it, with Matt doing the whole like apocalypse vehicle model kit build and everything like that, which I'm still working on mine. I have my final part should be coming here end of this week into early next, and then I can actually get that project started. Because I got to get on that because I haven't started at all. But with that whole contest and everything, I was just browsing through and found that I was like, that'd be something really cool to build in real life as like a little bug out vehicle. Like, yeah, I mean, a little old riding lawnmower has to still be pretty cheap. And these guys hook like baskets up and stuff to it where they can put fuel cans on it and like a bedroll and a, small tent and food and all that stuff. And they go and they hit like ATV trails and stuff. I was like, that'd be a really fun thing to do and be cheaper than an ATV because I've been looking at getting an ATV and God, fucking, even for old beat to shit ATVs, people are charging an arm and a leg for them. And maybe it's because it's still technically summer in the fall time. It's still a high demand item. The demands are kind of like motorcycles, like the demands there. Where when it comes to like an old beat up riding lawnmower, like no one wants their old beat up riding lawnmower, especially if it's not mowing anymore, which I don't need it to do. I just need it to drive. It's an interesting concept to say the least. But yeah, how about you guys? Like, what do you want to talk about? What topics do you have that you want me to speak to? Let me know. Two-way street. 'Cause I honestly don't have anything else. I'm looking here through stuff. I don't have anything in my email right now. Like nothing. All my email stuff's like ads for crap. um, I've started putting a Halloween costume together. I haven't done Halloween for almost 5 years. Yeah, almost 5 years. Because like the entire time in Arizona, I never went to Halloween parties or anything. Everything was always so goddamn far away from me that was like, oh, there's no point. I have like my little like Michael Myers like sleeve mask around here someplace. Yeah, this little thing that like it's not even a proper like Michael Myers mask. I don't even remember where I got this thing. But it's like a little like basically like see-through breathable mask. Like I'd wear that around, but like I got asked today, like, oh, we're gonna do Halloween parties this year? And I'm like, fuck, I forgot those are a thing. So I'm starting to I gotta start figuring out a Halloween costume. I might do something Avengers related, but I don't know. Tara says there's a picture of me somewhere nearly 5 years old, mowing the yard on an old Montgomery Ward lawn tractor when they were a tractor with a cast iron deck. That's awesome. Yeah, my like growing up when I was a kid, like my dad had for most of our properties had like riding mowers and they were for like usually like a Honda or something like that. Like your typical riding lawnmower. But then for a couple years we had property up in Vermont and then we had another house in Rhode Island, both of which were severe acreage. Like the property up in Vermont was 100 acres. Now granted, like 50 of that was up on the mountain, so we didn't mow that. We just used that for like ATV trails and stuff like that. But then 50 of it was just flat field, and so we would have to mow that. And you're not gonna. I mean, you could do it on a riding mower, but it's gonna take a long time. So he had an old. Well, I say old. It wasn't old. It was new for the time. Case with like a full like deck and everything like that. So that's where I learned how to drive an actual like big mower for the first time. Um, and then the second property my parents had up in Rhode Island, that was 10 acres, 10 or 12 acres, I forget exactly. And part of it was wooded, but there was open areas, so we would mow that again with a deck. And then there was a lot of boulders and stuff on that property, I remember. So he had the setup on the back of it where there was like a rear-facing seat with like a backhoe. You could put a backhoe bucket on it, or a like a drill and like a fence post thing. So like I learned on all that stuff. It's a blast using heavy machinery. It is one of the most fun things I ever liked. And maybe it's just me because I love mechanical stuff and vehicles and tools. Like I love skid steers and forklifts and tractors and all that fun. Like it's just fun. especially trying to figure like an old tractor or something like that. I remember the property in Vermont when we first went up there. The guy that lived up there had this old ass tractor on property, and trying to get that thing started and like running and everything, like it's a blast. So maybe that's just again what's leading me to be like, yeah, I want to take like a lawnmower, something that no one's gonna ever think of, and like I know people do like the lawnmower races. If you've ever seen those are insane. But like hop it up in performance a little bit, throw some good tires on it, throw some racks and everything on it, and just go hit an ATV trail. Like that sounds like a blast to me. Um, but that's me. I'm a little weird, so whatever. But uh, what else is new in the world? Let me pull up. I have a feeling if I pull up Yahoo News, it's just gonna be like, oh, we're all fucked. Da, 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 da. Something about Adam Levine. I don't care. Um, fentanyl overdose. I don't care. Dog the Bounty Hunter. What the fuck is he saying now? I don't usually care what celebrities say, but Dog the Bounty Hunter is always entertaining, mainly because he reminds me like a cross of like Bret Michaels and the guy from that movie, The Wrestler, um, Mickey Rourke. I can't remember what his character's name was, but he called Biden little angry mustache guy. Yeah, Corey, I'll send you one right now. Just uno momento. I should really have a light on my desk. There you go, Corey. Should be sent. Uh, Not hard RN bomb, of course.
What's going on, man?
Not much. Same shit, different day. Oh, I'm getting messages about my Halloween plans. Oh,
So, you know, your standard track lawnmower, right? Like an old Gibson or something.
Yeah.
Me and a buddy of mine years ago, we took I don't know if it was a Gibson or not, but it was that style, and we turned it into a drag lawnmower.
That's badass.
Like we fucking took it and chopped the front end off and extended it probably about at least another 10 feet.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I mean, this bitch was long, and it was all redneck ingenuity and shit, dude. And we ended up finally getting it going because it took a little while because, having time to work on it.
Yep.
But I don't remember what motor we put in it, or we might have put two in it. I don't remember. But this motherfucker ended up popping a wheelie by the end of we were done. It was
That's
great.
badass. That's badass.
There's a picture somewhere in some picture book. I had to try to find it, but dude, it was fucking awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, there was one place I found on YouTube, like one channel I found a while back, and it was literally like backwoods, like redneck boys that they were just like, oh, we got this thing here, and we're gonna trick this. Like they built like a weird like go-kart that was sketchy as all hell. Like it was like, oh yeah, this is a go-kart, but we're gonna add like a second engine to it and stuff, and just made it super sketch. And they had I think it was like an old school like riding mower or something like that they like lifted. So it was like instead of like your regular like height riding lawnmower, like this thing's lifted up in the air, but still that short wheelbase. And they're like riding around. They're like taking corners and like it's flipping because it's just super top heavy, and they're jumping off of it and stuff. But then they're ripping down like gravel roads. I'm just like, holy shit. They had like a three-wheeler that they like stretched out like a three-wheeler. It was insane. I was like, what the fuck? And it was all like clearly like, oh, we just have extra tubing laying around. Like we're just gonna add this stuff in. Like, those wells should hold. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever seen the actual lawnmower races?
yeah, yeah. My so it's funny. So I posted the thing on Instagram about it. I'm like, oh, I got to do this. And one of my buddies from up north, he's more into like drag racing and stuff now, but he does like he goes to all those like small little town like yokel local races of whatever sort. He's like, oh, I got this video from lawnmower races years ago. He's like, me and my buddies were gonna do this. I was like, dude, we should totally do that. Like,
Hmm.
you have a shop, like let's get some cheap ass lawnmowers together and just hit the dirt. It's literally like a dirt track, and it's all these guys in lawnmowers, and they're close, like they're hitting each other and stuff. I'm like, holy shit, like that seems
Oh yeah.
sketch, but I want to do it.
Yeah, it's fun. That's why we built that drag lawnmower. Honestly, was for a race.
Yeah, that stuff's fun. Like it just
It,
it's a lot cheaper than like going full out because I know guys have done like the dirt racing and stuff like that, and even you look at those cars and you're like, oh, that can't be that expensive. It's like, nah, they got a lot of R&D and time and money into those
yeah,
things. So,
yeah. That's
um,
like back when I was in college because I always loved tinkering with shit like that and just building stuff because it's fun. I enjoy it.
yep.
But when I was in college, I actually built two motorcycles. I
Oh,
built
nice.
a I built a trike. The frame of it was from an old trampoline when they were actually, thick metal tubing, not
Oh
just
shit.
flimsy shit.
Yeah.
So it had like a plate on the bottom to where you could rest your feet and everything. And then our chopper, we made not a real chopper like American choppers, but we made a custom chopper. But we had to actually build a pipe jig just to be able to bend the tubing for the motorcycle.
Oh
And
shit.
I ended up taking an old gas tank, cutting it in half, and making it bigger. And I used a TIG welder for that. But yeah, dude, we made every fucking little piece new for that bike from ground
That's
up. And we used an old, just because we had it and we really didn't have a big budget to make it a fancy bike, but we used, I want to say it was a Honda. I don't know. I don't remember bikes too well. I want to say it was like a Honda 450 motor or something like that.
okay. Like I
So
have like the
it wasn't like a badass motor, but it was good enough for that bike because
for
we
what
had it. It
for
was
what you're
free.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you take what you can get and you build stuff. Um, I'm just gonna answer some chats here. Daniel says you should send a waiter a link. I sent Ranch Boy a link. He hasn't responded, so maybe if we talk about ranch enough, he will. Although he might be working tonight. I don't know if he works Tuesdays. I don't pay attention to what he
No,
says half the time.
he may be working, but he sent me a message earlier saying that he finally got to the dentist, so he may not be feeling all that great.
Oh yeah, and it's also like I know he likes to sleep in the afternoons because he's more of a night owl because just with his work and stuff. So it's only like whatever 5 o'clock is 5:30. Yeah. So if he was also going to the dentist, he might not be feeling too hot, or he might be finally getting some sleep because I know he hasn't really slept much the last couple nights with everything. Meredith
That's the same
Mayhem
with
says,
me. I haven't
yeah.
been sleeping
Oh
much at
yeah,
all
'cause
lately.
yeah. How have you been feeling? You feeling any better, or like getting any answers to anything, or?
Well, I had a doctor's appointment today, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get probed next month.
Yeah, shit, shit.
And I'm probably gonna have to have it go both ways. One up the keister and one down
Ooh.
the gullet.
Yep. My
So,
dad's had to have that a couple times. It's yeah, but
but
it's
it's my choice. The doctor said, because I'm only 38, so I'm not old enough technically to have one. But recently, my aunt and uncle had one, and they found shit up in there, and my aunt actually found out that she's got cancer. So I
oh shit.
better. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Better to play it safe than put it off and what have you. Um,
But they told me
Meredith.
the doctor told me I have to get over this infection in my colon first before I can even have the colonoscopy.
That makes sense. That makes sense. They don't want to aggravate it even more.
Yeah, because you said you could run the risk of making the infection worse, or you
Yep.
could hit something and cause bleeding and whatnot. So he just wants to make sure all that's going first.
Yep. Well, fuck, with everyone else's medical issues, my shitty last couple nights don't hold water to it, so I'll just shut up.
Oh no, you're good, man. You're good. Shit happens. It's just fucking life.
I don't even know what I did because I haven't been in the gym since Thursday. Like Thursday, I went crazy. And like Friday, I woke up and my whole body was sore. I was like, oh, whatever. Like I'll take a day off. I'll go Saturday. And then like Saturday and Sunday, I just did not feel like it. I was like, oh, I'll go Monday. I woke up yesterday. I was like, I feel sore again. I'm like, what the fuck? This doesn't make sense. And like I haven't changed anything with my bed or anything like that. And then I woke up today and like, dude, I couldn't raise my arm. Like the back of like where my shoulder blade and stuff is was just all locked up. I'm just like, what the fuck? And of course it's like the one spot I'm like, you can't reach it to like massage it out. So I'm sitting there like banging my back on the wall, like trying to just knock shit off.
But see, usually what I do is like that. I can't reach it. A door frame works pretty good.
That's what I was using. I was like rubbing in the door frame. It would work a little bit, and then I hit it with the hot shower. But then I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to work. So I've been sitting here all day, and I was just like, whatever. We'll see how. Like it's better, but I'm still like, is it gonna fucking aggravate overnight? So I think I'm gonna sleep on the other side of the bed and see if it still aggravates. It might be something I just need to finally flip my mattress or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Meredith Mayhem put in here, currently building a Kawasaki 220 go-kart. Shit. That's gonna be a spicy go-kart.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That thing's gonna rip.
You gotta post some pictures. Do that before and after.
Yeah, there was some pictures into either BOV or even probably BOV would be best because I want to see that progress go through. Tara put in there, posted 2 new videos, one chicken and rice, 2 the Hyundai Santa Cruz review. I saw the Santa Cruz review. I haven't seen the chicken and rice yet. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I might have to check out the chicken and rice too because that's about all I can really eat right now. I have to have like a bland diet and shit. Sucks.
Yeah. It's funny because like chicken and rice does sound super boring, but there's ways you can jazz it up to make it so it's not miserable,
right?
Without being too crazy about it. Daniel says, "Are waiters ever really working though?" Oh God, they are.
He's trying to call fucking Honda, isn't he?
He is trying to summon Honda. Honda's gonna start twitching in his sleep.
Yeah.
They're not working. They're just waiting. Wait. I think they call that spit roast at Corey. Oh Jesus. They don't do it at the same time. It's not like they go both ends are like, oh, when they touch.
Right. That's when the magic happens.
Yeah.
No, I've had scotch down the throat before because I have problems with heartburn. So I've had that procedure done. It's not bad. And I don't think they're going to do both at once. They might, but primarily we're wanting to focus on the keister one.
Yeah. Like when my dad's had his done, because he's had a couple. He's had lots of medical issues over the years. They've always done them at separate times. Never even like back to back. It's never like, oh, we went up one way, like now go down the other. It's like, no, like we're gonna wait till these results come in and we can deduce everything and figure stuff out, and then we'll come back and do the other one if we still have to.
Yeah, I was going to ask Duke if he had any advice for me because he's always getting probed by the aliens.
he's always sleeping though. You just gotta be asleep and maybe tell your doctor to put on an alien mask. It'll help it go easier. Tara says, think about putting a stage 4 in my Harley Fat Bob. If I also add a turbo, it's 180 pounds of torque on a Harley that already runs 10s, waiting on one back ordered part. Jesus Christ. And that's not a small bike.
Is that she talking about the one that she had the wreck on that she
Yeah.
been building? That's a
Yeah,
nice
that was the
fucking bike.
Peppa. That is a nice bike. I mean,
I miss riding. I haven't been riding in fucking since probably 2005-ish.
last
Just
time,
because I was in a bad wreck and just haven't been on one since.
yeah, I haven't been on since because I had my bike back in fuck. When did I get that? It was 2014 or 20. I think it was 2015. I got the bike, and that was the last time I rode because I only rode a couple times before the thing fucking broke. I bought off a buddy of mine who he had bought it off someone else that had done crap to it, and then he tried to do stuff to it, and I basically bought a problem is what I did. I bought someone else's problem. So I only got a couple rides into it before I was just like, fuck this thing. Like it almost killed me. I was just like, nope, fuck this. I only paid like $500 for it. Because it was literally like my buddy was like, oh, I can't pay rent. I need money for rent. I was like, well, you got this bike, and like I didn't know all the issues that were with it when I bought the thing. Um, hindsight 2020, but I was also helping a buddy out, so it was like, okay, like I'll buy the bike, whatever. And then I ended up just selling it back. So I was like, here, just fucking take your bike back. Like I don't want this headache. Like it was a wiring nightmare. The person who touched it beforehand jacked up the wiring, and
That's
when
always
I
nice.
realized when I realized I need to stop riding, I was ripping it down the highway, and it just died on me. And I was just like, nope, nope, don't need that happening again. Like it was one of those things. Like I'm never gonna trust this bike unless I completely rewire it myself. And it was a Hyosung, so I'm like, it's not worth me putting a wiring kit into it. And at that point, like Hyosung was just fresh into the U.S., so they really didn't have parts and availability over here. Like it's really tough to, even now it's still tough to get parts and availability of anything, especially during 2020
Oh God,
beyond.
yeah.
But like back in 2015, like they were still fresh, so like nothing was here. So if you want, I remember I had to get brake pads. They had to come from Korea. So I was just like, yeah, fuck this. Like I'm not wasting my time or effort on this bike anymore. Like it'd be cheaper for me to go buy another bike than it would be for me to fix this one. So
Right.
what did Tara say? Have a track day Sunday, October 2nd, 2.4 mile track. Probably just watch my son on his Sportster S. Don't think mine will be ready. Mine has a ton of torque and it's down low. Yeah, they are lower end torque monsters. Yeah, because I know you said you're still waiting on backward parts with it already being the 20th. By the time they get the part in, get it fixed up, get everything tuned up, it'd be cutting it close, I would imagine. But nice thing is though, where you live, you're gonna have more track days available to you. It's not like up here where that would probably be the last track day of the year you get, because we're finally getting like earlier this week we were hitting 80s mid 80s every day. I think today or tomorrow is the last of that, and then it drops back down into like it's gonna go 70s for a couple days, and I think over the weekends it's 60s. So I'm like, fuck, winter's coming.
Winter's coming,
Winter,
yeah.
yeah, winter is coming, like, and quick. So it's weird because in the mornings, like, I wake up, I go to the gym. Well, occasionally, not the last couple of days, but I'd go to the gym and it was like 50s, high 50s, 60s out, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm literally walking to my car, hopping in the car, driving there, hopping from the car to the gym. So I'm not outside for any length of time. But the last couple of days, like I've been going for walks in the morning because I just haven't felt like lifting because I've been so sore and shit. I'm like, it's brisk out. And even at like 7 o'clock, right before work, I'll take a shower or something. I'll go walk to the end of my parking lot because there's a Dunkin'. I'm like, I've had to throw a hoodie on the last couple of days. I'm like, this is weird. But then by midday, I'm like fucking sweating. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, just pick a goddamn temperature. But
Yeah,
it's the Northeast. I gotta get used to it again.
that's Texas too, because there for the whole summer and shit, we were in triple digits all the time, and nights weren't even that much cooler. But then we got some rain, quite a bit of rain actually, last month, in beginning of this month, and it cooled it off quite a bit, and it was right back up to the 90s. But I think we're finally supposed to hit the 80s with low 60s at night. So
That'll be nice.
yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I remember. By the way, Valiant Thor, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Says at work, random channel surfing. Thank you for the subscription. Um, yeah, I remember in like Arizona, I was the same way. Like during the summertime, you'd be hitting triple digits, and at nighttime, like you were lucky if it dropped into the 90s. And I remember there, like I was getting up at 3 in the morning to go for walks because I was like, I'm not gonna do it a long ass walk in the evening or afternoon because it's so damn hot out. And
Mm-hmm.
even then, like I'd get up, it'd be like 90s. It was actually cooler at 5:30 in the morning when I'd leave to go to the office than it was at 3 a.m. when I got up. Like for whatever reason, it took that long for like with the sun being down for it to finally cool off. And then at 6 o'clock, the sun's coming up again. It's like, oh, cool, you got 45 minutes worth of cool weather, and then fucking comes right back. So
Yeah,
what
I've
did
also noticed because wife and I we recently moved out, further out in the country. Not as far as I would like, but definitely more out in the country. And I noticed even when it's hot, it's still not as bad as it was in the city because you're surrounded by all that concrete jungle and the asphalt and everything that
yep,
just holds in the fucking heat during the day, and it's
it
releasing it
really
at night.
it really does. Like that stone just absorbs it and holds on to it forever.
Mm-hmm.
What Tara put in here? Our rating season is late September through July. 110 plus humidity and traffic, not fun. Yeah, Arizona. I mean, Arizona doesn't have the humidity, but Arizona is very similar. Like I'd even say maybe even like early October because we'll still hit triple digits sometimes into October. Um, but yeah, their writing season then usually like June is when it starts to get hot again. And it's, I mean, you can ride in that heat, but it's like, okay, cool. I'm out riding in an oven. Like there's no relief. Like you're not comfortable. It's
Yeah,
miserable. So,
yeah, it really
Valiant.
doesn't start cooling off like comfortably and not miserable until I would say end of maybe November. Actually, it just
Yeah.
depends on the year, honestly, because sometimes it'll cool off sooner. Some
Yep.
summers it won't be that hot. So Texas is
Yeah.
very bipolar.
Yeah. I remember when my friend came out to visit me the first time in 2019. She came out in May, and it was still nice. Like Memorial Day weekend, like it was still nice out. We actually went up to the Grand Canyon. And it was cold. Like it was in the 60s up there, and that was midday. Um, Now, granted, it's higher elevation, obviously, but still. And it didn't really get hot that year until towards the end of June, and then it cooled down pretty quick. Like I remember, there's a couple hot days in October, but for the most part, like after October 1st, it was fine. This past year, when I was out there in October, like I remember it being almost Halloween, and it was still like hitting almost triple digits every single
Mm-hmm.
day. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
miserable. So it just depends on the year. Uh, Yeah, Valiant just put in watching from Los Alamos National Laboratory, isotope production facility. Yeah, you're making nuclear shit. Sounds like um, the 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 spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Terry Smith put Casa Grande, Arizona. August AC went out over 100 at night. Yep, I am very familiar with Casa Grande. That's where we used to go shooting with G-Webs back in the day. Because G-Webs was down in Tucson. We were up in Phoenix, so like Casa Grande was kind of the halfway point. And there's nothing out there except like a range and like a Walmart and like 4 houses. Um, Jesus, yeah, that's tough. 100 degrees at night sucks. Yep, it does.
Yeah.
Casa Grande. Funny enough, the shooting range at Casa Grande is also or at least one of the border patrol shooting ranges. So it was really weird when we're up there shooting and all of a sudden like a bunch of border patrol trucks and like a van pull up and everything. We're like, what the fuck is going on? But they were just going to the range and they went to the range next to us. So Daniel, I read your Putin comment. I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah, I saw that. That's probably pretty much accurate.
Yep. No shit. It's gonna be like reverting back to the stone, like if you're into Warhammer lore or anything like that, the Dark Age of technology. But yeah, fuck, I would hate
whenever World War III kicks off, it's gonna be very fucking spicy.
Yep. Why is the sun out at 9 p.m.? Fuck.
Do you think, hypothetically, if, another civil war, revolutionary war, whatever you want to call it within America, do you believe that the fucking government would drop bombs and nukes and shit on us?
I don't think so, only because it would depend, right? Like it would have to depend on how desperately they were losing, because I think they'd only do that if they were desperately losing, not like an off the bat type thing. And it would depend on, you'd have to have like defined areas that were definitely the opposing side, like Texas, for instance, right? Like if all of Texas like succeeded or something of that nature, maybe, but I feel like with everything else we have, like there's so many levels you can up that destruction before you even have to get to nuke that it would be easier to go that route. Unless we were just trying to be like, no, we don't want anyone in this area at all surviving.
Yeah.
Because when you drop nukes, yeah, because it's tough too. Because when you drop nukes, like then you're denying yourself access to that area and those resources for a while. So, because you got to wait through fallout and all that crap. So it's like you're, instead of just like destroying a couple buildings, like at least you can still take that area and hold it. Where it's like, oh, well, we just denied that area for them, but also for us. Like, it's tough. But
yeah, I just because Sleepy Joe's made kind of comments like that, they'll threat.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and honestly, I think because it's with what he says about that stuff, like I think that's just what he goes to, because it's like he doesn't know anything else. Like he doesn't know other big bombs to use or something. Like he doesn't know what other words to use, and it's a scary word, right?
Angry.
It's the one, yeah.
Thy Honda has been summoned. He's in the back chat.
Oh, he's here. Hello, Honda.
Were you guys like talking about me or something? Why'd you say, oh, he's here?
Yeah, because Daniel was trying to summon you, talking about
Rain.
I don't know. I was just going through my email. I'm like, Angry sent me an email. Whoa, it's a StreamYard link. All right. Look it. How's it going?
It is going. It is going.
What are we talking about here?
Anything and everything. It's just kind of a free-for-all chat. We were talking about a hypothetical of like if something spicy was to pop up in the United States. Corey had posed the question, do you think the opposing side would use nukes on us?
No, not nukes. DARPA dogs, yeah.
That's what I said. I said there's so many other steps before nuke that it's like.
And they could easily, like you were saying, drop like tomahawks on an area that they just don't want no one to be around, or
or even like a Moab or something. Like,
although if like Florida and Texas and some other southern states got together and like seceded from the nation and created our own, and then there was a war, and then the other side was losing the war, would they potentially, eventually, maybe use nukes? I'm not going to say no.
You said the exact same thing I said.
Yep.
I said if they were losing and there was big enough territories of like succeeded states or something like that, then possibly.
Yeah, I mean they might like target military targets with nukes, and some like civilian casualties happen. I mean, Nagasaki, Hiroshima. Oh well.
Yeah. Whoopsies.
I mean, we are the only country in history to ever use a nuke against anybody.
That is true.
True. Yeah.
How many people died in Japan because of that? And then there's also the firebombing of
Dresden.
No, well, it was in Japan too. It was Tokyo, because
Oh yeah.
Tokyo used to be made out of basically bamboo and wood, right?
Yep.
And we knew it, and so we're like, I know, let's just firebomb. We'll put some napalm everywhere and burn the entire city to the ground. And they had to like rebuild Tokyo from the ground up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is probably just as bad as a nuke, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Speaking of DARPA dogs, did you see? I don't know if either one of you guys. It was a couple weeks ago. Brendan Herrera, the AK guy, did a video with I forget what channel, some channel, where they basically made like a DARPA dog that they like attached an MP5 to. That thing was a clusterfuck. And then the other channel, like it was some Australian, I guess like engineering channel or something like that. Like they made it super anti-gun, so like Brandon kind of laid into them on it. But I was like, oh, if that's now granted, I understand DARPA probably has a lot more engineers and money behind them and stuff like that compared to, these guys and stuff. I'm like, oh, as soon as you had the gun to the top of it, like that dog's falling over all over itself, like it's not moving properly. And that was just an MP5, never mind something bigger. But
well, they actually have one that has a sniper rifle on it.
Yeah, I've seen that
oh,
one.
that wasn't it like SHOT Show or something that they released it, or
I'm not sure where I saw it, but it was basically a DARPA dog that had like a super accurate sniper rifle. I think it was in 308, but I'm not sure exactly what caliber or gun it was. But that thing was like goddamn scary, I'll tell you.
I remember seeing that. I'd be curious to see, and granted that's probably not something we're gonna see for a long time, but I'd be curious to see like what it actually does like on a range and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah, have you seen those videos where it's the robot at the fucking range with the look like a Glock, and they're having him shoot the targets and they're bashing shit across its back, spinning it around, and it just stayed on target?
That's a video.
Yeah, that's a fake. That was Corridor Digital did that. Like yeah, like that robot's actually a guy in a green suit that they like, because they're all digital content creators. So, but they made it look very convincing.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But I know they got fucking robots and shit like that, because I remember, and we've talked about it, where they had to shut the robot down because the AIs were starting to speak to each other.
That's different than an embodied robot, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's like an AI inside. And I'm not saying, like, they're never going to get there where it's that far-fetched or whatever to have, like, a Terminator-style AI inside of a mechanical moving thing that can manipulate things in the real world. I don't think they're far off from that. But what that was they created an AI and another AI, and they were talking to each other. And then they created their own language that no one could understand. And then they tried to turn them off, and they couldn't. And they had to like do some crazy shit to get them to turn off. So that's kind of scary too. Like how scary would it be though if like in that video, the fake one where the guys were kicking the robot and then it got pissed off and started shooting it? Like what if robots got pissed off, or like your computer gets pissed off at you because you've been surfing the internet for too long or something? Like that's when we start losing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and I feel like there's been plenty of movies over the years, plenty of documentaries like this is a bad idea, and we're just like, oh yeah, bad idea train, let's hop on it.
Yeah, I don't think that creating an intelligence greater than our own and embodying it inside of something that can manipulate things in the real world is a good idea.
No.
Nope. Because it's you can't even say human nature. It's just nature that whatever that thing is going to be want to be at the top, which means it needs to keep other things from being at the top. There's only one way to do that. I mean, I guarantee if cows were smarter than us, we'd be getting served up at cow steakhouses,
I feel like elephants might be smarter than us. Like, have you ever seen like the size of an elephant brain compared to ours? And like they have things where they know their way across Africa back and forth, and they know where all the water holes are in different areas, and They'll remember where their family member died and go and like visit every time they pass by and like touch the bones and stuff. Like elephants are smart as fuck, and if they had opposable thumbs and could like create and use tools, we probably never would have evolved.
Yeah, that's true. They are smart. Dolphins are also like freaky smart as well.
Well, dolphins and porpoises of different kinds have languages that they speak that are so complex that we can't decipher what they're saying to one another.
I remember I was reading something about it was like a group of like Navy SEALs or whatever that were going through training, and part of their training is they have to go up and do like these night swims up in, I want to say it's like Washington, Oregon, someplace up there. And like part of the night swim is there's a boat like anchored or whatever, and they have to like find a place to go into the ocean, like swim up to a plant, like a fake mine on it, like get out undetected, all this shit, right? And the one guy was saying about how he was doing this training mission as part of his, like, to get like full SEAL credentials or whatever. And he was coming back and they were telling him like over the radio, like, don't fucking move. And he's like, oh, bullshit. Like, I'm not listening to them. Like I snuck in, I helped plant this mine. Like, I'm getting out of here so I get my skill points or whatever. And they're like, do not fucking move. And he's like, why? And they said something like, you're in the porpoise pen. Like somehow he had swam into like where they keep their Navy trained dolphins. And they're like, don't move. Those things will fuck you up. Just stay there. We're coming to get you. And like, that, he's like, oh shit. Like, he's like, I'm more afraid of those things than I am sharks.
Have you seen the video? I think it's in India where there's like a monkey and he's riding a little miniature motorcycle and he like rides up to this family that's sitting on a curb and grabs a baby and starts running away with it.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
No, that's fucking terrifying.
Dude, monkeys will eat you if you let them. Like that monkey was planning on eating that child. And if it wasn't for the dad, he would have.
Did you hear about the story where the fucking monkeys were dropping dogs off the fucking roof because one dog killed their monkey? Like one of their baby monkeys?
Yep. I heard about that, yeah.
And then there's also the story about, I think it was in India again. There's like this tourist city where there's this monastery where all the monkeys get fed by the tourists who come in. And there's like thousands and thousands of monkeys at this monastery, right? Or whatever you want to call it, temple. And COVID happened. And so everyone couldn't travel. And so people weren't going to the monastery. And so the monkeys weren't getting fed by people like they normally do. And these monkeys were like fucking freaking out and going all across the city and like taking dogs and like ripping them apart and eating them and like trying to get kids. And like if they couldn't find anything else, they'd like rip one of like, you know, like meat's back on the menu, boys, you know, just like kill one of the monkeys and fucking eat them.
Jesus.
Eight together strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think monkeys in general and up to gorillas, you know, if they all fucking band together, they could fuck us up. There's some mean motherfuckers.
Yeah, but we got AR-15s.
Yeah, true. Unless they learn how to shoot that, you know, like in fucking what was that fucking ape movie? Planet of the Apes.
Well, there's also, I think this is a fake video too, of like the African soldiers in a jungle and they find a chimpanzee and they give him an AK and the chimpanzee starts like doing what they're doing and then like starts shooting at all of them with the AK. You've seen that video, I'm sure. Someone out there has.
I can't say I've seen that one.
Again, I think it's a fake. I don't think it's real.
Oh, the one with like all the soldiers and the monkeys like firing the AK into the ground and stuff. They're like, oh shit, like yeah, that's a fake one. Yeah.
It's a funny video though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dude, going to the dentist and having a deep cleaning, not fun. Oh my God. Everybody watching, go to the dentist regularly and get your teeth cleaned so that they don't have to do a deep clean on your teeth. It's like like, you know, the little fucking scratcher thing that they use to get the plaque off your teeth?
Yeah, the little hook thing.
It looks like that, but the tip spins really, really fast and shoots out water. at high pressure at the same time, right? And then they got to dig underneath your gums and shoot water and spin the thing to get all the. Oh my god, dude!
No
Oh
thanks.
my god! It was an hour-long torture session today.
Did they at least like mildly sedate you or anything, or were you just like?
Yeah, they did, but there were times where it wasn't enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. When I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, I had all 4 of them pulled out at once, and yeah, that was They
Dude,
mouse.
when I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, they were like, "Do you want to get the needle or the gas?" And I didn't realize like there's a difference besides the needle and the gas. So I was like, "Gas, right?" Well, the gas doesn't put you under; the needle does.
Yeah.
So I chose gas because I didn't want the needles. I was just being a pussy or whatever, you know, and not realizing that like that was the macho way to go because you're awake the whole fucking time while they got fucking like a team of doctors in your mouth pulling fucking bone out of your face.
Yeah, I was squeezing the armrest because it hurt so bad, and I was telling them I could feel everything, but my brain was foggy and I really couldn't see just because I was drugged, but I could feel fucking everything. And the nurse was like, "Don't do that. You'll break the armrest. Here, squeeze my hands if you need to." Well, I did, and I busted blood vessels all in both of her hands. Like she had to take off of work because of it. Almost broke.
Well, when they did mine, like the thing that I didn't know is basically what they do when they're taking out your teeth and they're too big, which mine, I have like elephant teeth. They're just giant with giant roots. They can't just pull it out, right? What they have to do is put it in this device that squeezes your tooth until it like shatters. And then take out the shards of tooth until there's no more tooth in there, right? Well, the sound of them shattering your tooth sounds a lot like a tree falling over. It is like the freakiest, and because it's in your face, like you can hear it like through your flesh in your ears. Like there's no way to get away from it. Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Yeah. Hopefully my problems with the tooth thing is over. I got to go back next week to get a couple little things done, and then I'm good for a while. But hopefully I'm not dealing with the lymph node like neck thinking it's cancer thing. I've been on antibiotics for 2 days now. I feel way better right now, dude.
Oh, that's good, man.
I didn't realize how shitty I felt. I mean, I knew I felt shitty, but oh my god, dude, I feel better.
Shit.
Make sure you take all those antibiotics and finish them off.
Wait, you're not supposed to take them all at once?
He feels great right now. Tomorrow, dog shit.
Oh shit! Daniel says, "God damn it, Honda! I got one of those on Thursday. Don't tell me this shit." Are you talking wisdom teeth or deep cleaning? Because both of them are not very fun. Deep cleaning was, bro. I was like, "Are you done yet?" She's like, "Nope, we got like a little bit to go." Half an hour later, I'm like, "Are we done yet?"
Nope.
Almost.
I had to get the deep cleanings done when I was a kid because I took horrible care of my teeth when I was younger. I admit to it. But then like after I got braces, I was like, nope. At this point, like I've had to go through braces. Like I'm gonna take care of my teeth again. So, but I had to get a bunch of my teeth fucking removed back in the day. Because I never had to get my wisdom teeth taken out, but I actually had too many teeth in my mouth, so I had to get a bunch of teeth taken out and then the braces to align everything. So that sucked.
Yeah, dude.
Braces isn't fun.
Dealing with tooth stuff sucks because it's like if like my knee hurts to some extent, I can like separate myself from my knee. It's down there. I'm up here in my head. That pain's down there. I can kind of block it out to some extent. But when it's in your face, it's like, dude, that's where I am. Like that's
yeah.
I can't
and right here. With other pains in your body and stuff, you know, you can take medicine that'll, you know, help alleviate it. But with tooth pain, dude, there's not a lot that'll help that pain.
And even with other stuff, like even like me, like my back right now, like there's certain ways I can sit or like position myself where I'm like, okay, it's not that bad right now. Like same thing, like if you have leg pain or something, like you can position yourself certain ways where it's like, this isn't horrible. With your mouth, like there's no way to like position your mouth where it's not still just hurting.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Where like
And
every
it gives
time
you
your
a
heart
fucking
beats,
headache too when it's real bad.
and every
Yeah.
time your heart beats, you can feel it in your tooth. Your tooth is just throbbing with pain.
Yep, it's
Oh my God.
thumping.
Like, please just shoot me. That would be less painful.
It feels like the movie Drumlines in your mouth.
And then you go to the range and you shoot a gun and you feel your teeth rattle together. Oh,
Yep.
I'd rather go to the dentist instead of buying that next AR-15.
Dentist is
And-
like a fucking torture chamber.
I really like my doctor though. Like I've been going to him. Like I take my kids to him, and I went to him a couple of years back after I hadn't been to the dentist in probably 15 years. Because I went when I was like 17 years old, and then I didn't go back until I was like 35 or something like that. You know, it was like forever later, and thinking like, oh my God, like they're probably gonna have to pull out a bunch of teeth and do all this stuff, so I don't want to deal with it. And then it eventually came to a point where like I had a tooth that I needed to go to the dentist for. And so I ended up at this guy after going to a couple other places and having them fuck my tooth up. And that tooth had to get pulled out. He pulled it out, right? Fine, whatever, not his fault. And then he went through all the rest of my teeth and fixed all of them for basically nothing. Like he did it
That's
pro
awesome.
bono, just because I was funny and he liked me. And I had my kids with me.
awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, whatever I have for the rest of my life, as long as you're fixing teeth, I'm coming to you.
Yeah, it's hard to find good doctors anymore, man. It's like they treat you like a fucking assembly line or like a cow barn or something. It's just fucking product in and out, in and out, in and out. They lose that that bedside manner.
Well, he saved my life twice now. Because like if I like caveman days back then, I would have died, and right now I would have died both times. But since we have medicine and doctors and stuff, like yeah, like that's his job or whatever. But still, he saved my fucking life twice.
I liked my dentist back in the day. Like he was always a really chill. Like I hated going to him, obviously, but like he was always a really cool guy. Like, and he was really good. You know, tried to keep it as painless as possible. The only thing I hated about going to the dentist was, for whatever fucking reason, my parents, they'd bring me to the dentist. I'd be all hopped up on Novocaine most of the time, so like half my face is numb. I'm like drooling out the side of it. And afterwards, they would always, like clockwork, bring me across the street to Friendly's for lunch. And it's like, fuck, like I can't enjoy anything I'm eating here. Like I'm out to eat and I can't enjoy the ice cream or my sandwich or anything like that because half my face, I can't taste anything. It's like asleep. So that's what I always hate about the dentist.
When I was a kid, the dentist that I had was an asshole. He was just a piece of shit. And like he'd get all mad at you for stuff like, oh, you're not flossing, obvious. And I'd be like, yeah, I've been flossing. Well, you haven't been flossing enough. And he'd get all he'd like yell at you. And then he'd play Kenny Rogers. So I'd have like these fucking like flashbacks every time I hear the saxophone of like.
That's how my orthodontist was a dick. I hated him. And he'd be sitting there like tightening up my braces. I'm sitting there going, ow, ow, ow. And like, because with braces, you have the wires exposed, especially on the ends. You have just the bare wire sitting out. And it would cut the inside of my mouth. And I'd be sitting there like spitting blood. He's like, you're not hurting. I'm like, I'm literally spitting blood because you don't know how to bend these wires over. He's like, you're fine. I'm like, the inside of my mouth is all cut up. Like, how the fuck do you think I'm fine?
Yeah, they used to, the same place, the same doctor when I was a kid. For some reason, I don't know what it was. It was just like one of those office buildings that had multiple things inside of it. On the first floor and like the bottom basement floor was a candy shop. So like you go to the dentist, and then to get to your car, you have to walk through like Willy Wonka's like candy factory where they've got like the most cavity causing things that you could possibly have in your mouth. It's like, ooh, buy me. It's only 75 cents.
Yeah, that's job security right there.
Seriously.
Here, we'll fix your teeth and give you shit to make it worse so you can keep coming back.
Yeah, they were working together, man.
Yeah.
They're getting kickbacks off each other.
Yeah, exactly. Tara made a good point about they should bring back cocaine tooth drops. Because she said she could take pain anywhere but her teeth.
Yeah, dude, that's
like
bleeding though, man. I swear there's black shit coming out of my gums.
damn.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think there was anything in there, but apparently there was. So hopefully from now on, or at least starting now, I don't have like weird fucking problems anymore, and I'm not like randomly exhausted because I'm fighting off some infection, and I've got like lumps in my neck because the lymph nodes are doing their thing, and oh god, dude, it was bad.
Yeah, it sounds extremely unpleasant.
Dude, implants, Daniel, would be worse. Have you seen the videos of what they do to put implants in your mouth? Because first they got to pull all your teeth out, right? And then they got to drill holes into your gums where your teeth were and put metal shit in there.
Yep.
And then wait for it to heal. And then go back in after it's healed up and like re-drill out your gums because your gums will heal around it so that they can get to the metal part so that they can screw things into it. So that, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just like get some dentures.
Yeah, it's basically, that's what my father did because when he was younger, he got into a motorcycle accident. He lost a bunch of his teeth. And so years later, through like that and between like not really taking care of them, he's like, well, I can either get implants or I can get dentures. And he just went the dentures route because he's like, oh, yeah, I'll go implants. And they explained the whole like, essentially that, like we have to drill into your bone, like your jawbone, put like metal screws in, wait till it heals, and then like screw in teeth. Like he's like, nope, I'll just go dentures. Get me a set of dentures, like a set of dentures that fit to like his gaps and stuff, and he's like, I'll use those. Like that's the way I'm gonna go.
Yeah, like dentures versus implants. Like you got to go through all of the same pain as you do for dentures, because all of your teeth have to get pulled out or whatever. But then you also have to go through like months of pain, and it's like something like $3,000 or $4,000 per implant. So if you end up getting like full implants, right? So what they'll do is do 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. So you're looking at 8 implants times $4,000 each. So $32,000 to get a full set of teeth.
Yep. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's the other part.
Sounds like a good time. Make for a great watch party.
Oh God.
That's like at Match Chat we were joking about live streaming my fucking brain operation if I had to have it.
Jesus, don't do that.
We should like show the teeth videos, like the teeth implant videos to Duke and be like, these are what the aliens are gonna do to you, Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're using like fucking DeWalt power drills and shit.
Yeah, they are.
They really are. It's like, oh shit, like strip to screw, like now I gotta drill it out. Like
well, that they use the same power tools, you know, like when they do like hip replacements or driving rods. Have you ever seen them drive a rod down the fucking center of a femur?
Yep.
No.
Dude, that's fucking gnarly, man. They're literally in there with like a mallet fucking hammer, and they're just beating you.
Ting,
fucking
ting.
Yeah, just like they're driving in a nail in a fucking railroad track.
Yep.
What's messed up is they had to like figure out how to do that at some point. They're like, I don't know if this guy is gonna live or not, but let's go ahead and pound this steel rod down his fucking femur bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it was some weird surgery, and like there was a guy next door like building like a building. They're like, hey, you got any spare like, you know, rods or anything like that? Or oh, here's some rebar. This should work. Like let's rub it down with alcohol first and like.
Well,
right.
Ancient Egyptians used to do like basically brain surgery. So if you have like a bad enough concussion, right? You get like a head injury, you can have fluid build up inside of your brain that causes brain damage and does all kinds of bad things, right? So what they have to do is drill a hole through your skull to relieve the pressure. Somehow the ancient Egyptians figured this shit out and figured out a way to drill holes. And so there's like, not a ton, but there's examples of ancient Egyptian remains that they found with holes that were dug through the skull that then healed up and they lived afterwards. Like you can tell by the way the bones are grown or whatever. That's insane, dude.
Yep. Yeah, ancient medicine used to be, and like, I say ancient medicine, even you go back early, like 1900s, it was just like, no, fuck that shit. Nope, just kill me. Let me die. Like, I'm good. Like, you ever see some of the stuff, like the Civil War battle? Like, oh, you got grazed by a bullet. Here's a shot of whiskey, and I have this saw. Hold on. Like,
Yeah.
Like the doctors back then, it used to be like 6'7", 350 pounds, right? And like that was the like if you want to be a surgeon, that's the requirement. You got to be big as fuck and strong as fuck. And the reason isn't so the reason was so that you could hold the guy down and saw his leg off at the same time.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, remember that one picture of the I think he was a Civil War soldier that actually got shot in the head and lived, and he had like a giant hole in his head from it. Imagine what they had to do to his ass.
I knew a guy in high school who, when he was like 12 years old, got into his dad's gun cabinet, right? And he lived after this. Found, I don't know what kind of gun, and ended up shooting himself in the head. And they had to go in and remove like half of his brain, like a quarter of his brain, just like cut out. And he'd show up to poker night, and like he's a nice guy or whatever, but kind of dumb down the jokes for him,
Yeah, he wasn't literally all there.
No, exactly, yeah.
yeah, crazy shit.
Yeah, our brain is like space. We don't fucking know hardly anything about it.
It's literally the most complicated thing in the universe, in the known universe, is the human brain.
Yeah, it'd be scary if they could actually figure out a way how to tap, where you could tap into like 100% of your brain. Because don't they say we only access, 10 to 12% of our brain?
Yeah, but that's okay, so if we use 100% of our brain and you had some sort of brain damage, you would be forever incapacitated. The reason you only use like 10% of your brain is, let's say you get shot in the head and they have to remove a quarter of your brain. The rest of your brain that's not being used can rewire itself to take up what the part of the brain that's missing used to do. That's how people like learn how to walk again and shit.
It's like backup systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I do agree, Corey, it would be cool to be like access everything, and all of a sudden, like I can start like teleporting stuff or like making stuff move on. So like some Professor X type shit. But
yeah, because there's theories out there that if we could tap into more of our brain, we could possibly develop, like telekinesis and shit like that.
Well, there's that movie with what was her? Black Widow. Can't think of her name. And like Morgan. Yeah, and like Morgan Freeman, where like she takes like the pill, and the pill or whatever like lets you access 100% of your brain. She's like on a whim, like changing her hair color and like hacking into computers by looking at them and shit. And like, I mean, that's obviously extreme. Well, maybe. I mean, I don't fucking know, but it would be cool to a point. Like if everyone has that power, then it's just kind of redundant.
Mm-hmm.
That makes everything not fun. But
I know what movie you're talking about. I just can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it. But
she's made some weird fucking movies. Like, you ever seen that one Under My Skin or Under the Skin or something like that? That was a weird fucking movie.
Rings a bell. Duke just replied to my photo in the group chat. I want to be like Duke and buy an A4. I don't have 1,000 chicky nuggies to spend right now. I mean, I do, but like, probably shouldn't because there's some stuff I want to do here towards the end of the year. So
I've got a fake one. Like, it's not 20 inches; it's 16. It's not mid-length gas system; it's carbine length. But it's got the A2 handle on it. It kind of looks like it.
Yeah, I have one with the carry handle that's 16-inch carbine. I made it like my Black Hawk Down retro clone or whatever you want to call it, even though I know those were shorter than 16 inches, but legality. But I've always liked the 20-inch full. Like, I just think they're cool because they're retro and old school and everything, but again, just don't have $1,000 to spend right now. So
Y'all, are y'all familiar with the Mosin crate?
yes,
He actually just dropped a preview of what is going to go up for sale, I think tomorrow, and he's got a couple of pretty nice rifles. I think he's got one that's a Gewehr, and he's got a couple. I think it was like 3 or 4 Mosins. He had like 2 or 3 9130s, and one of them was a couple of them were like $4.99 beans, and the other one was $3.99 beans. And he's got a Russian Makarov that's like fucking like 1,400 beans.
yeah, I've always like found his stuff to be a little bit high priced, honestly. And granted, I know that's probably like going rate for some of that stuff, depending on where you go. But like the fact that I know I can hunt around and find better deals on that, like I don't know. Like I subscribed to his stuff years ago when I had my CNR license because I was like, oh, this is someone that's selling CNR shit a lot of the times, and this is just another person I could buy stuff to. But he just never had stuff that was at my point, like in a good enough price point.
Yeah, that one 9130, it was pretty nice, and that for $3.99 beans, that's the cheapest I've seen it in a while for a Nagant.
Dude, the only reason anyone ever cared about Nagants in the first place was because they were like $100.
Oh, you're talking about the Nagant revolvers, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, like Nagants back in the day were like Mosin Nagants. You could pick up a Mosin Nagant for like $100, and you could get a can of 440 rounds for like $75. So for less than $200, you had a World War II battle rifle that was capable of hunting or doing whatever. Like that's why it was cool. Not because.
Oh yeah, you could pick them up for even cheaper sometimes. I mean, I still remember the days of $80 SKSs and shit. Like, but I've seen Mosins. Now, granted, it's been a while since I've been at like a gun show or anything. But I think the last gun show I was at was back 2021. I could still find them for right around 300 chicky nuggies. They were in rough shape, obviously. Like not piles of rust, but like they weren't like pristine looking or anything. But yeah, I feel
suitable.
Yeah. So, hey, Bulletin Books, glad for you to have joined us.
I wish they would, drop the prices on surplus stuff. I wish they would honestly bring more surplus firearms, like the old M4s or, the Colt ARs or even the Beretta 2s. Yep.
I feel like the Beretta 92s we might get someday. The ARs and M4s and stuff I don't think we're ever going to get unless they change out the trigger packs.
And like fill the third hole?
Yeah, and like fill the third hole somehow. Because otherwise I don't think we're ever going to get those. Unfortunately, it's just... But I agree with you. I think that'd be cool to get that stuff. And I want to say his name's like Mike B or something like that. He has a YouTube channel. He still does a lot of stuff within the surplus realm, but like he has a good video he put out a while ago where he was talking about how, essentially like surplus is never going to go back to the way it was back before 2012. Like back before 2012, like the only people buying surplus were really like collectors and stuff, or people that were like, hey, I can get this really cheap rifle and use it as a deer rifle or whatever. But ammo might be hard to get a hold of and stuff like that. But he said, as soon as the internet blew up, like it became accessible to everyone, and then you had every other YouTuber dropping like, hey, buy this rifle on sale because they're like, it just drove demand through the roof.
Yep.
And so we're never gonna see that stuff again.
Not at the cheap prices, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with inflation and all that shit,
I think they'd make a killing if they, flooded the market with, just the Beretta 92s right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of those, though, are still... I mean, granted, I know they bought a shit ton of the new what do they call them, the M17s or whatever.
Mhm.
But I still know people that are still like issued with like, or at least as of a couple months ago, were still be issued with Beretta 92s and shit. Like they hadn't replaced them with everyone yet.
Mm.
So I think like rear echelon type shit, like, or like, hey, worst case scenario, like if we really need them, we can access them. I think it's gonna be a while before they release all the Beretta 92s, to be honest. But I agree. I think as soon as they do, like if they throw that through CMP or something, like that's gonna be huge.
We gave a fuck ton of guns to the Philippines post World War II. It's actually post Korean War,
Mm-hmm.
and like we should be able to get those back, like M1 carbines, M1 Garands, 1911s, all that shit. Tons and tons and tons of them.
Yep. Why hasn't shit like that already hit the market by now?
Because they're still holding on to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Philippines, Taiwan, all of them are still like holding on to all that shit because they don't know what's gonna happen. Bullets and books put in here. Angry, an option for a cheap handgun is the Dagger. Got a blem for $2.99 beans. Has armor cut, threaded barrel, and suppressor sights. Only 150 rounds to it, but seems decent for beans. I've heard good things on the Dagger. I was really into that gun before like all the postponing on stuff, and I'm not against the Dagger by any means. Like if I can find one, I might pick one up for cheap enough, but I'm not.
I would have picked one up because I mean they had those blim that he's talking about for quite a while, and I think they still have them, occasionally.
Yeah,
but every time they have
that's
them,
not
I
a bad
think
price.
they have the extra beans for it.
Sometimes they'll have like little deals where they're like, okay, here's 10 15 round Glock mags and 10 like 30 round Glock mags or whatever, and like a little carrying case and a holster and this and that all together for your Dagger for like $99 or something, Oh.
Yeah, we lost him. The aliens came for him. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when they have their Blem AKs. I'd love to pick up one of their Blem AKs, but every time they come up, I'm like, fuck, I don't have the money for it right now. Like, when I have the money, can't be found. Can't touch them. They're nowhere to be found. The second I don't have the money, it's like, hey, guess what hit the market? It's the same thing like with those stupid Smith & Wessons that you and Matt and Duke and everybody bought back in the day. It's like, when I had the money, couldn't get them. The second I didn't have money, it's like, hey, these things are around. You should buy some. I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, I just spent the equivalent of a Blem AK on my mouth. So.
Yeah, but it's a good long-term investment.
Hopefully it's doesn't need more work immediately.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Seeing if anyone else posts anything in here. I appreciate you guys showing up.
Yeah, man.
We've been going for We've been going for almost an hour and a half. Usually, I only run these for 45 minutes to an hour. So, we had some good topics going tonight. So,
finally eating for the first time today.
Eating solid food again.
Yeah.
You're gonna finally get a good night's sleep. That'll be nice.
Seriously, dude, I've been waking up with like night sweats every 2 hours for the past month.
I remember it was, and like I didn't have it nearly as long as you, but when I had a filling fallout, it's like years ago. For the longest time, I didn't realize what it was because God forbid, I looked in my mouth and actually checked to why my mouth was having pain. Or like felt around as to why my mouth was like, oh, there's a massive hole in my tooth again. But like, fuck, for like 3 nights in a row, like it was the same thing. Like you'd wake up in sweats, like your head's throbbing because all the exposed nerves are right there. So it's just the pain in your mouth is going right to your sinuses and your head, and it's just, oh, it was fucking miserable.
Yeah,
and I finally figured it out and just patched it. I was like, oh, that was easy.
Well, for me, it was like weird because like I didn't have any tooth pain, and there was no obvious like spot where things were messed up, and I kept having like lumps in my neck, and it would be like painful to swallow. So how does that have anything to do with my teeth? Or like my head would have like pressure like a motherfucker. So every time I'd cough, it was painful as hell in my like inside of my skull, kind of, you know, like what's going on here? I don't know. And it wasn't until like I basically like cleaned the fuck out of my teeth one night, and then the next day I felt slightly better. And I'm like, maybe there's a correlation here.
Maybe these things are connected. I'm just going through my email to see if anything else fun came in. Well, we're all chatting now. Matt sent out links. When's his chat? I don't fucking know. Yeah, well, I don't have anything else. Yeah, Corey must have lost power because he's off of Discord too now. So he must have. Oh no, here he is. Never mind. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, sorry
He
about
returned.
that. Had an important phone call I had to take real quick. My wife's brother is probably not gonna make it through the night.
Oh shit, dude.
So I just duked that real
Corey, I
quick.
told you to stop this shit. Fuck, man.
Fuck.
The fuck, dude. I'm sorry. It sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I've never met him, and it's a whole story behind that. I'd rather not get into, but it is what it is.
It's still shit you got to deal with.
Yeah. So I went. It was my sister-in-law that called me, and you know, she's got that. You know how she's the patriarch or matriarch of the family, pretty much. So you don't deny her when she's calling. She'll tear your ass up. So
because you'll have to deal with it later. Yep.
Yeah, but she's cool.
Yeah.
I love her to death. She's.
Guy in the comment says, would a trans cyborg be a transhuman or a transhumanist?
I swear that's what the whole trans movement is about, right? Like, hey, you can be what you want to be. You want to be a girl, you can be a girl. You want to be a boy, you can be a boy. You want to be an animal? Well, you can dress up like an animal and you can be an animal, whatever you want. And then the transhumanist movement's going to come along where it's like, well, download your brain into this computer and we can give you a new digitized body of whatever kind you want. You want to be a girl? Boom. You want, like super hot, you know, can't even tell.
That's scary.
But the thing is, like, okay, let's download your consciousness into this computer, and then we're going to destroy the wetware that it came from. Does that mean that your consciousness is now in the computer, or does that mean that a copy of your consciousness is in the computer and they just murdered you?
That kind of brings it to the whole, like, the teleporting concept in Star Trek. Like, is it your body that's in that new thing, or is it, or is it just like a clone?
Copy. Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is if that happens during my lifetime, and if I'm still like single at that time, before I do anything with anyone, I'm having them do like a blood sugar test where you have to like poke the finger. And if blood comes out, I'm like, okay, you're a human. I know that. But if like milk comes out like in Aliens, I'm being like, no, you leave now.
Well, it'll get to a point where, like, why would you have a girlfriend? You could just have a robot that doesn't cheat on you, doesn't lie to you, can't get pregnant randomly and have, like, kids when you're not ready, completely loyal to you for your entire life, sucks your dick better than anything ever did, you know, like all that stuff. Or you can have, like, a nasty human girlfriend who's going to, like, do all those things that you don't like sometimes.
Yeah. I like abusing myself, so I'm probably gonna still stick with the human.
Yeah.
I like that level of toxicity there. That's just enough to make things miserable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Only feds ask questions, or do they also make false statements? Gonna need 338 AR-10s for the robot uprise. Maybe. I mean, 338 would definitely probably do it. It depends how up armored the robot chassis are. I think the beginning ones are going to be more lightly up armored, so you might be able to get away with smaller calibers. But as they become more combat effective, you're going to have to up that for sure. Till you get the
223, baby.
You get phase plasma rifle, 40-watt range.
40 kilowatt range.
Yeah, gonna have to start building homemade EMPs.
I just want to know where you got to shoot the DARPA dog to take it out. That's all.
Right?
Because like, there's gonna be places that you shoot it and it's just like, I don't care. Now I lost my leg, but I'm still like 60% effective or whatever. You know, like where do you shoot it so that it just takes it out, shuts it down?
I mean, I feel you're gonna have to hit either the power cell area or just like take out its sensor suite, like wherever its sensors are all at. That's why I play that.
I feel that would be on its back or like in the center.
Probably on its back. I don't know. I for a while there, I was playing with Duke that what is it called, Zero Horizon game or whatever like that, and that whole game is like an apocalyptic, like you're in Sweden, but it's all like robots taking over, like military robots, and they have DARPA dogs in there. So like, it's like, oh, this is my training for taking out the DARPA dogs. Like, shoot them in the power cells on the back. They go down quicker instead of having to mag dump into one to drop it.
Yeah.
Or if you can just get those, you see those like drone guns that like they shoot at like drones and stuff. It disables the drone. Just get a couple of those. Like mount one underneath your AR or something, so you can like confuse it and like short circuit it so it doesn't know what's going on. Then you can just walk up and boom, boom.
That only works if it's not AI. Like if it's controlling itself, then you shoot the confusion ray thing at it and it doesn't do anything. Because like when you shoot that at a drone, what you're doing is disrupting its signal to the controller. And so now, like, the guy doesn't have control over the drone anymore, and the drone, like, falls out of the sky.
Yeah, but I guess it would depend if each one was independent or if it was running off, like, like, if they're, like, the battle droids from Star Wars, right? Where it's like, oh, if you take out the command center, it shuts down all the battle droids. Like, would that work? In which case, you could disconnect them from that main center, and they'd just be kind of like, whatever. I don't know. I guess it would depend how they were set up.
And that would DARPA dogs be subjected to hacking? I mean, could you hack one and turn it into your DARPA dog?
In theory.
Yeah. I mean, if you knew enough about programming and shit, sure.
Because I think that would be cool to have your own fucking DARPA dog.
That's some John Connor shit right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Calhoun.
I think I'm done smoking weed. I haven't smoked in 2 days now.
Well, that's a good thing.
I quit vaping. I quit smoking. I quit everything. I'm living on enchiladas and water now.
That doesn't sound that bad, actually.
No.
It sounds healthier.
Yeah.
Depending on how many enchiladas.
You know, normal amount.
Oh, yeah, then you're fine.
That and, you know, with your teeth problem and everything, that would help alleviate that, make it less likely that would occur again.
Well, I'll tell you guys, man. Like, I was pretty fucking nervous about what was going on with me a couple of days ago, not knowing if it's just some tooth problem or if I have, like, neck cancer or what's going on, dude. So I made a bargain with God. And that bargain was like, basically, stop doing this shit and you'll heal me. So far, everyone's kept up their end of the bargain.
That's good, man. That's good. Proud of you. Now whenever Honda's at like a party or something like that, he just keeps like a bag of enchiladas on the side, just whips it out, like, you know, starts nomming on an enchilada.
But Calhoun made a good point a while ago about the surplus
M4s and M16s. Yeah, I was going to read on that because they're already a machine gun. So once a machine gun, always a machine gun. But they could sell off the uppers. Which, I mean, honestly, like that's, now granted, I understand most people are going to want the lowers as well. But whatever, like the upper parts, you're going to be able to at least utilize like those FN barrels and all that shit for sure. So.
Well,
and lowers are cheap enough.
They'd be Colt barrels because they'd be the surplus ones.
Oh yeah, the Colt. Well, I mean, eventually down the line. Depends how.
Also, like they said in the comments, if the NFA does get overturned, then it
That's
really wouldn't
true.
matter.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath, but
It could happen, but I don't.
yeah,
I don't know the
I'd love to.
chances.
I'd love to see it happen, but again, yeah, I just don't.
If we
Don't
got
expect
invaded by China, though, the federal government would be handing out M16s like candy.
Oh yeah,
It'd be like
we'd be getting
Ukraine all over again.
M16s. We'd be getting surplus M60s. Old flak jackets. It'd be
Like, when was the
Vietnam in
last
the
war?
cornfields.
When was the last war fought on American soil?
War of 1812? No, actually, technically World War II. Technically World War II.
Well, okay, discounting Pearl Harbor.
Well, the Japanese invaded Alaska actually in World War II.
Did they?
Yeah, they invaded some of the Alaskan islands for a very short period of time.
I don't think that can. Mainland America, let's say.
Yeah, so if you go back to mainland America, then it would be, I think, War of 1812.
No, it'd be Civil War. 1860s?
Well, yeah. I mean, I thought you meant like foreign invaders.
Well, whatever. War where people are fighting and dying on American soil.
Yeah, that would be so. Actually,
There hasn't been anything since then, has there?
Would the the Mexican-American War? That was late 1800s, wasn't it? And some of that spilled over, I think even like some of the Spanish-American was Cuban. But I think the Mexican-American War, because like you think of like I think there's like some stuff where like they actually came into America and like hit some border towns.
The Mexican-American War ended in 1848. So that was before the Civil War.
That was before Civil War. Okay. Yeah, then it would have been Civil War, to my knowledge. Because I don't think Spanish-American War, I don't think they ever hit American soil at all. So, yeah.
I mean, that's why we don't have, like, RPGs in someone's basement because they had it left over from the 60s or 70s or something like that when the Russian tanks were rolling through, and these are the munitions that we didn't fucking use up, and Grandpa, like, stashed it away, and now it's in the basement, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, if you're going to fight a war like against a conventional military of today, hate to say it, but M16s and Berettas aren't going to cut the pie.
No.
You need something a little bit more spicy sometimes.
You do. I mean, you're definitely going to need to upgrade to the spicy stuff, but the M16s and Berettas can help you get the spicier stuff.
Yeah, true. But you need to do some Red Dawn shit to get it.
Yeah. You gotta. It's like business. You gotta constantly invest in upgrading. But Grandpa Hans with the Panzerfaust stockpile. I actually saw online there's a guy on YouTube. I saw he did a video. He makes like 3D printed like Panzerfausts, and he makes like the rockets and stuff. They don't obviously have explosives in them, but he like has blueprints where it's literally he has a 3D printed Panzerfaust. And what's the one that's like? Fuck, I'm blanking on the name of it. It was a World War II German anti-aircraft rocket launcher. It has like 9 rockets or something. It like fires them off in succession. But he makes like a 3D printed version of that also. I'm like, that's pretty badass. He's like, I mean, you could make a way to make the rockets have boom stuff in it, but we don't do that because that's against the law. So he just shoots like dud rockets, but they're pretty cool. Grandpa Hans with the Panzerfaust. The spicy fireworks launcher. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I forget what they called it, but it was. You seen that movie? What was it? 12 Strong or whatever. It had Chris Hemsworth in it.
Yeah. Yep.
It was just like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar. Very similar. Well, it's 8:45 my time. I know Matt's chat's starting up here probably soon. I don't remember if he starts at 9 Eastern or 10 Eastern. But I figure I'll give some people some breathing room in between chats. I don't have anything else here. Don't know if you guys have any closing statements or arguments or anything like that you want to make. If so, feel free to go ahead. Otherwise, I think we're going to shut it down. I appreciate everyone that did show up tonight. And thank you two for joining. We'll be doing this again, next Tuesday. And if there's stuff you guys, whether in the chat or whatever, want to talk about, as I've said before, comment down below, post it up, and I can bring it to next week's chat. But nothing else. I think we'll just say we out.
Yep.
Deuces, yo.
Later.
Peace.
It was a good chat.